aviation community. My name is Sean Patrick and I'm the General Manager of Oceanic Services for the Irish Aviation Authority. I will be moderating this press conference along with offering my own presentation after these two esteemed gentlemen to my right provide their own words. Now, just a few quick housekeeping items before we start. For those viewing our press conference online, if you have any questions that you would like to raise and us to answer, please include your name, your email address, and your publication or organisation in the comments section. If you can't access that, please feel free to email the questions to info@aireon.com. This live press conference is also being recorded, and the recording will be available within 2 hours of concluding the live stream. Now that we've got that out of the way, we can get on with the rest of the business. I have two incredibly important people here with me today on the stage. Peter Kearney, Chief Executive Officer of the Irish Aviation Authority, and Don Thoma, Chief Executive Officer of Aireon. Peter is the Irish Aviation CEO. He's known throughout the industry to place innovation at the core of his leadership and is keen to ensure that we always deliver the best in class for service to our customers and stakeholders. Peter has worked with the IAA since 1998, holding a variety of management positions, but what many of you may not realise is that Peter actually started his career as an air traffic controller based out of Dublin with the IAA. Sitting beside Peter is Don Thoma, Aireon's CEO. Don is the first and only CEO of Aireon and took the company from its concept in 2011 to a fully operational reality in April of this year. Aireon is the only provider of global, space-based air traffic surveillance. Prior to leading the helm at Aireon, Don held a variety of senior positions at Iridium Communications. For those of you that don't know, Don actually started his career as a captain in the United States Air Force Space Division. Now, before we get into the remarks, I'd like to direct your attention to the video that will be played on the screens either side of me that sets the tone for today's announcement and why we are all here.
Arion Alert is the aviation industry's first and only free emergency aircraft location service. When an emergency incident occurs, air navigation service providers, commercial aircraft operators, regulators, and search and rescue personnel across the globe are able to rely on Aireon Alert to get the most accurate aircraft position data available. Before Aireon's space-based ADS-B system, real-time aircraft tracking and surveillance was not possible for the entire planet. Remote areas, oceans, and the polar regions had little or no air traffic surveillance. In an emergency situation, even a few minutes can make a world of difference, and gaps in surveillance translated to safety, financial, and environmental dangers. Now that Arion Alert is available by Aireon and the Irish Aviation Authority, all that has changed. By registering for free 24/7 Aireon Alert service, air navigation service providers, commercial aircraft operators, regulators, and search and rescue organizations are able to quickly get precise recent location information across the globe for all ADS-B out 1090 MHz equipped aircraft. To get started, pre-register at AirionAlert.com and log into the Aireon Alert dashboard for your unique number and personal identification number. You will be able to use this user number and PIN with the dial information provided, and an Aireon Alert operator will provide a 4-dimensional report based on the flight ID or hex address. Aireon Alert's 4-dimensional reports immediately supply latitude, longitude, altitude, and time, allowing responders to quickly and accurately locate aircraft. A full report will also be emailed directly to your account with a 4-dimensional report covering the last 15 minutes of flight. Aireon Alert is the first and only free global emergency aircraft location service that offers data at this level. If you're an air navigation service provider, commercial aircraft operator, regulator, or search and rescue organization, visit AirionAlert.com.
As many of you are likely aware, we're here to announce that Aireon Alert is now live and available for use. Pre-registration for the service launched in last August, but we are proud to stand here today and announce that the service is now available for all registered users. For those of you who are just hearing about Aireon Alert for the first time, let me give you a brief description. Aireon Alert is the aviation industry's first and only free global emergency aircraft location service. ANSPs, commercial airline operators and airlines, regulators and search and rescue organisations in need of critical aircraft location data can rely upon Aireon Alert to help provide a surveillance-equipped aircraft's most recently known position. As a free service, Aireon fills a crucial need, ensuring search and rescue personnel have the most accurate position available when responding to an incident, regardless of the global location. Aireon Alert utilises Aireon space-based surveillance data and is operated by the Irish Aviation Authority right here, right out of this facility we are broadcasting at today, our North Atlantic Communications Centre in Baillygirreen, Ireland, County Clare. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand the podium over to Peter Kearney, CEO of the IAA.
Thanks, Sean. Good morning, everybody. Mayor, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I want to formally welcome you all to the IAA's North Atlantic Communications Centre here at Baillygirreen, County Clare, and especially to the launch of the global Aireon Alert service powered by the IAA. Thank you for joining us. Both those who have joined us here in person, here in the west of Ireland, and those who are joining us across the globe via the live web stream. Céad Míle Fáilte, which in our language is a greeting, 100,000 welcomes to you all. I am honoured and privileged, as CEO of the Irish Aviation Authority, to be involved in this launch today, which is a combination of a number of years of sweat and toil by our own people here in the IAA and our colleagues in Aireon. And it's really great to see this hard work come to fruition. Today, the IAA, together with our partners in Aireon, are launching a truly revolutionary service, the world's first free global aircraft locating service, Aireon Alert. This type of service is not offered by anyone, anywhere else. And the benefits that it offers to the whole aviation industry and of course to passengers is truly historic. Firstly, I'd like to say a few words on Aireon. The IAA is a partner in Aireon and a founding investor. Since the start of this year, Aireon now has a fully operational constellation of 75 satellites providing a real-time space surveillance service for the aviation sector. What this means is that parts of the Earth, such as over the oceans or mountains, where aircraft previously could not be tracked, as these areas were not covered by conventional ground-based radars, are now fully covered by the space-based surveillance service. That's every inch of the globe. This is a major advance for aviation, allowing air traffic control providers to see aircraft in areas where previously they could not, and as a result, to drive further improvements in safety, capacity and efficiency. The IAA is proud to have been part of this journey and to be an investor in a visionary company such as Aireon. The Aireon Alert service powered by the IAA is an important feature of the overall Aireon package. By using real-time data available to the IAA from these satellites, we can now offer airlines, air traffic control companies, governments, regulators and search and rescue organisations information on the location and flight path or track of any particular aircraft worldwide. That's right, an aircraft in Sydney or Shanghai, over the North Pole or over North Dakota, crossing the great oceans or the largest deserts, will be tracked by this Aireon Alert system. And all of this will be done right here in rural County Clare on the west of Ireland. We'll do it for free as a public service to anyone who registers on our website. I will let Don and Sean give you some more detail on how the Arion Alert service will work later on. But for now, I want to focus on the IAA's role and what this means for us as a successful semi-state company with a global reach. We often talk in Ireland about the importance of foreign direct investment and the technology industry. But we already have a highly successful indigenous aviation industry here, one which has a key role in powering the Irish economy and enabling other sectors to prosper. We punch well above our weight in the global aviation industry because aviation is in our DNA, and nowhere more than right here in the Midwest region. And it is astonishing to consider that the facility you're sitting in right now has been at the centre of transatlantic aviation since 1936. So in the 21st century, it's coming back to where it all started. Right here at our North Atlantic Communication Centre in Baillygirreen, our skilled staff, working alongside colleagues in the UK, safely manage hundreds of transatlantic flights every day, and they have done so for generations. We employ almost 70 staff here, with a further 280 at our Enroute centre just up the road in Ballycasey. These are highly skilled jobs in rural Ireland, which ensure the safe passage of thousands of passengers between Europe and North America every day. Over 90% of transatlantic traffic is managed by the IAA every year. This is critical to not only the Irish economy, but to European and the global economy. We have invested over €30 million in our facilities here and at Ballycasey over the last 10 years, indicating our commitment to this region and our ongoing commitment to maintaining Ireland's prominent role in the global aviation industry. This is a very real example of the future sustainability of rural Ireland, investment in people and technology, helping to breathe life into rural communities. And now, with our latest service in Baillygirreen, Aireon Alert, powered by the IAA, we are truly going global, offering a service to every corner of the globe from right here in Baillygirreen. Just think about that for a moment. Is there any other unique service of such importance offered from anywhere else in Ireland? Any other town or countryside that has such a global reach as we have right here? And there's a good reason why it's happening here in Baillygirreen. I've already mentioned the prominent role that the IAA has played on the North Atlantic since the 1930s. But it seems fitting to be launching this service from the west of Ireland 100 years after one of the most significant aviation milestones, the first transatlantic flight by Alcock and Brown, landed in Clifton in Galway. I believe the Aireon service and Aireon Alert will be seen in years to come as another key milestone for aviation, and indeed another first for the west of Ireland. Perhaps it is fitting when we think about the bravery of Alcock and Brown, who crossed the ocean without even the most basic navigation or surveillance equipment, that Aireon now fills that void that existed up until today for aircraft crossing the oceans. Finally, I want to conclude by reflecting the sense of responsibility that we hold in the IAA for this important service. It is a great privilege and honour for the IAA to operate the Aireon Alert service, a responsibility to hundreds of airlines and millions of passengers around the world that we take extremely seriously. The IAA has always been about innovation and excellence, using modern technology in partnership with our highly skilled professional staff to deliver high quality and, above all else, safe service to airlines and passengers. Aireon Alert is a natural evolution for us. It complements our core objective of safety, and it aligns us with our vision of offering new, innovative and high-quality services to our customers. I am confident that through partnerships such as Aireon Alert, Ireland and the IAA will continue to play a strategically central role in the global aviation industry. We are looking to the future. Aireon and space-based surveillance is the future for safe, efficient air traffic management across the globe. The IAA will continue to invest in Baillygirreen and continue to ensure we provide a global service from this facility here. We all should be rightly proud of the Aireon Alert service that we will be providing from here, a unique service to the benefit of all aviation stakeholders and passengers, powered by the Aireon vision and our the IAA's expertise and dedication. I will now hand over to Don Thoma, Aireon Chief Executive. Don has flown in from Washington, D.C. for the Aireon Alert launch today, and Don will be able to give some more detail on Aireon and how it is a game changer for the aviation sector, not just for us in Ireland, but across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Sean. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us here today, taking time out of a very busy schedule, I'm sure, both to those in person as well as everybody on live stream. As many of you may recall, back in April of this year, Aireon's space-based ADS-B service went live over the North Atlantic in Canada. That was truly a historic day for aviation. With the launch of Aireon's air traffic surveillance system, we went from 70% of the entire Earth's airspace having zero air traffic control surveillance to now 100% surveillance of all equipped aircraft. Think about it. Prior to April, aircraft flying over the poles, over our oceans, over remote areas were not being tracked by air traffic controllers for a majority of their flight. That's a big difference, but that doesn't occur anymore, and that's because of our partners at Aireon. With Aireon, we now have real-time tracking data for all equipped aircraft in the sky. This means that we've ushered in a new era of aviation safety made possible by the most powerful and comprehensive set of real-time data on global aircraft location our industry has ever seen. But just as significant, our industry has entered into a new age of increased efficiency, unlocking significant fuel savings, reduction in greenhouse gases, and overall better travel for our flying public. Air travel has long been the safest mode of mass transportation. And there have been countless innovations, extraordinary individuals, and technologies that have helped us achieve that distinction. And yet, as we are unfortunately aware, emergency situations do occur and they always will arise. Whether it's to help search and rescue in a tragedy like the disappearance of MH370, to assist with a single-engine propeller plane that's dealing with a shortage of fuel, or to provide clarity to air traffic controller who is monitoring an abnormal situation. It is the obligation of the industry to continue to put forth solutions to better respond to these crisis situations. This becomes increasingly important as this marks the 10th year anniversary of the loss of Air France 447 in the South Atlantic, where a system like this could have helped significantly with the speed at which the search and rescue operations occurred. At Aireon, we believe it is our duty to support the goal of continuously improving safety, to support controllers who monitor and direct flight paths, to support the search and rescue teams to whom minutes can mean the difference between success and failure, and to support the families who trust the aviation industry to safely transport their loved ones. And now, roughly 4 months after Aireon's historic launch, I'd like to announce another service that I believe not only demonstrates the power of our revolutionary system, but one that exemplifies our core belief that safety of the flying public should, above all, guide the work that we do every single day. Today, I am proud to announce that for the first time ever, air traffic control organizations, aircraft operators, regulators, and search and rescue organizations will have access on request to the exact position data of an aircraft in distress over the oceans, in remote areas, anywhere else they may need position information in an emergency situation. This data will be provided by Aireon and the Irish Aviation Authority as a public service free of charge. The Aireon Aircraft Locating and Emergency Response Tracking System, or what we call Aireon Alert, was born out of our moral obligation to share space-based aircraft location data with the aviation stakeholders who need it most in a crisis situation. Although the primary mission of Aireon is to use space-based aircraft surveillance to improve the efficiency and safety of air travel, we and our partners at the Irish Aviation Authority believe it is our duty to make this data available during an emergency situation in a timely and responsible manner to the authorities that can use it to help hopefully save lives. This was the genesis of the Arion Alert service. Before turning the podium over to Sean, who will provide some additional background and details on how the Arion Alert service worked, I'd like to now speak briefly about the service, how it functions, who it will be made available to, and the process for requesting information. Let's start with the registration process. I'd like to first say that users of the Arion Alert service do not need to be customers of either Aireon or the Irish Aviation Authority. They simply need to be registered. The registration is available to aircraft operators, to air navigation service providers, to regulators and search and rescue organizations. We limit the service to these key stakeholders because they are responsible for the safety of the aircraft and the people on board. Once the registering organization has been verified, the Arion Alert facility, operated on a 24/7, 365-day basis here at the Baillygirreen Communications Center, will provide the last known position of the aircraft in question should an emergency situation arise. This communication will be relayed to the caller verbally, and the information will be sent via email. It will include a map of the last 15 minutes of flight and a 4-dimensional report of the aircraft. With that being said, Aireon and the Irish Aviation Authority urge all commercial aircraft operators, air traffic control organizations, regulators, and search and rescue organizations to register for this service at airionalert.com. On behalf of Aireon, the Irish Aviation Authority, and all of our partners at Aireon, we are proud and humbled to introduce this public service that will have a global impact on aviation safety. With that, I'd like to turn the podium back over to Sean, and he'll provide you some more details on the Arion Alert service. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Peter. Before I start into the presentation, I'd just like to invite Cathal Crowe, Mayor of Clare, to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank the Irish Aviation Authority and Aireon for having me here as a guest this morning. On behalf of Clare County Council, we first of all want to say a huge thank you for choosing Ireland, Clare, and indeed Baillygirreen as the locating of Aireon Alert. Some people will be watching here online this morning, and they will see a very high-tech studio which has been made up here this morning for the conference. And there's the world of amazing computers and technology based in here in this room. But as you leave the M18 motorway, you're passing through rural Ireland. There's sheep and cattle grazing those fields. So this is really west of Ireland. This epitomises rural Ireland. And yet we have a small townland of Baillygirreen just outside Newmarket and Fergus in County Clare, which is now globally connected. Just last year I was a guest of the Irish Aviation Authority at your Ballycasey Centre, and I was intrigued to watch in your communications room as airplanes left the FIR and went into what I as a layperson saw as a blind area in the mid-Atlantic. And I now understand that you said 70% of the global our globe was unwatched, I suppose, from air traffic point of view. And to see that you've bridged that as a company between April and July of this year and are now live from Baillygirreen is incredible. So I just want to thank you. I really want to thank you for choosing Clare for this project. Baillygirreen is a very special place to us all in this county, and we appreciate everything the Irish Aviation Authority has done here over the years. The graphic behind you shows right back from the birth of aviation, that this place has been here close on 100 years. We've gone from the old propeller aircraft and we've moved on through the jet age, and now we've 21st technology operating out of this room. I want to sincerely thank you, wish both of you the very best in the partnership in the years ahead, and assure you that anything Clare County Council can do in terms of helping both your organisations going forward, we'll be glad to give that help. It's technology that will provide reassurance to people. It's technology that hopefully will have to be used seldomly in an emergency situation, but nonetheless it's technology that I think the whole world will appreciate. Gurmila Mahagwiv, August, I wish you the very best of luck in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, I'm going to move on to a short presentation now, in which we'll look at Aireon Alert and the services. Before I do that, I'd just like to follow up on some of the remarks that Peter said earlier in relation to what we actually do here in the North Atlantic Communications Centre. So we are responsible for communication services in the Shanwick Oceanic area. That's the large area you can see to the left of your screen. It covers over 2.2 million square kilometres, which is a significant volume. In our sister unit in Shannon, at the Shannon Area Control Centre, we are responsible for integrating that traffic into the European environment and operate over 450,000 square kilometres, and we act as the gateway for Europe. So in total, we will have over 950,000 movements through Shannon and Baillygirreen, where we'll provide a service to these aircraft. Over 1,700 flights a day on a busy summer's day. As everybody is saying, quite a significant advancement from 1936 when the unit first started, and in 1939 when the Clippers first started flying a weekly service. Anyway, moving on to Aireon Alert. As we are aware, Aireon Alert is going to be launched today on the 9th of July. So what is Aireon Alert? Aireon Alert is the aviation's first and only free global real-time emergency aircraft location service. Air navigation service providers, commercial aircraft operators and airlines, regulators and search and rescue organisation in need of crucial aircraft location data can rely upon Aireon Alert to help provide a surveillance-equipped aircraft's most recently known position. As a free service, Aireon Alert will fill a crucial need, ensuring search and rescue personnel have the most accurate aircraft position data available when responding to an incident, regardless of the global position. Aireon will provide global real-time air traffic surveillance coverage for Aireon Alert service. The Irish Aviation Authority will operate the service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year from the centre here, and we will also operate our Aireon Alert registration system and login from here at Baillygirreen as well. So in terms of where we are to date, we launched pre-registration in August last year. We currently have over 193 personnel registered. The majority is made up from the airlines, with the others coming from the air navigation service providers, rescue organisations and regulators. The whole purpose of being here today is to encourage those who haven't registered to register today. They can log on to www.airionalert.com and register free of charge for the free service. What I'd hope is in a year's time, or even less, we can have 100 or 200% increase in the number of registrations that we currently have today. So, how does Aireon Alert work? There are 9 basic steps in relation to Aireon Alert, as we have just said. First is the registration, where anybody who wants a service must register. Once they've been accepted and they've gone through our verification and validation checks, they will be issued with a log-on to the website. When they log on to the website, they will be provided with the contact number to contact the Aireon Alert operator, and a unique 8-digit identifier which will provide the information on the caller to the Aireon Alert operator. Dial the number, put in your 8-digit number, and you're through to our alert operator. The alert operator will then request either the flight ID or the call sign of the aircraft, or a unique identifier called an ICAO 24-bit address, which uniquely identifies the transponder of that specific aircraft. The query is then launched and a response is immediately returned. The response will provide the last known position in longitude and latitude of the aircraft, together with the level and the time in the last 24 hours. Once that information has been verbally transmitted to the caller, 2 minutes later, an email will follow up that provides the last 15 minutes of data to the caller to allow them to make an informed decision on what they want to do in relation to the conduct of the flight. So, how does this all work? Global space-based ADS-B surveillance. If you look on the screen on my right, you'll see a picture of 66 low Earth orbiting satellites. Each one of these contains a receiver detecting the signals coming from aircraft on a global basis. As you can see, a number of them overlap, so we have built-in resilience. There are also 9 in-orbit spares, which can be drifted into the position in the event of a technical difficulty with one of the airborne satellites. And in the event of a catastrophic issue, there are 6 spares which are currently based on the ground as well and can be launched to recover that service. As you can see, polar to polar, complete global coverage. Okay, so what information will you get from Aireon Alert? And the information you will get from Aireon Alert is pretty much exactly what we've said. The essential information that you will need to work out what to do with an aircraft and what to follow up. So if the aircraft is found, it will be a 4-dimensional report that will be immediately provided with the latitude, longitude, altitude and time of the last known position of the aircraft. A package which will include an information package on how to progress an incident will be provided, together with a map and the last 15 minutes of the flight in a 4-dimensional report format. Now, you may wonder where you are today. We're in the Shannon Enroute IAA contingency building. So, as we've said before, we have our sister area in Shannon, which is where we operate our en route service from. In the event that anything should happen to that, we will operate from here. Okay? This room will be available at 4 hours' notice, and we will allow our controllers to move over here and operate within that time frame. What we do have in here, for those who may be interested after the questions answer, we have space-based ADS-B fed in. So some of the pictures you've already seen, we can look at on the radar screens, and you can see the real effect the different space-based ADS-B will make to our operation in terms of the limitations that we currently have with terrestrial radar and the advantages and benefits that we get from space-based ADS-B. So, just to conclude, this room will be fully tested, with testing ongoing at the moment, and will be launched into live operations at the latter part of this year. But now, just like to move on and say, we are launching Aireon Alert Live. It is now live, and we would encourage people to register. Before we do the question and answer session, what I will now do is I will give you a practical demonstration of some of the data that we receive from the Aireon Alert system once we do a query in relation to aircraft. Okay. Okay, so what you see before me is the query engine. So we are simulating now that a call has gone through to the operator. The operator has opened up the search application, and we're now looking to search for an aircraft. I have to say this is simulated because we're going to use real call signs. There is nothing wrong with the call signs. There is no issue. It is simply to give you a demonstration of the capabilities of the aircraft. So as you can see here, I have the option to search by the IK address or the flight ID. In this case, I'm going to use the flight ID, and the aircraft is an Irish aircraft. It's Shamrock, which is EI. Oh, sorry, gents. It's EIN 12 Golf. And there you can see we get an instantaneous response in relation to where the aircraft is. So what the system is confirming is for the flight ID Shamrock 12 Golf, the latitude is 53 degrees 4140 north. The longitude is 0062800 west, and the last aircraft was seen at the time 093737 at an altitude of flight level 135. So fairly impressive, fairly instantaneous. How does it look in relation to the data that we then provide to the operator? And I'll show you, as most good TV chefs would say, one I prepared earlier. So this is an example of an aircraft which is a United aircraft overhead Iceland. So as you can see there are two graphics. One demonstrates where the aircraft is in terms of a large global picture. We then get the smaller picture showing where they are in relation to Iceland. And more importantly for the safety organisations, we get the 15 reports there in tabular format with the changing latitude and longitude, the changing or the potentially changing level, speed and heading. This gives an airline operator the ability to interrogate this data to see if the aircraft is flying a normal profile and then make an informed decision about what they do next. So in relation to this, we also send a KML file, which is a file that can be plugged into Google Earth and will also show the position of the aircraft. So if I open this up in Google Earth, so there you begin to see the tracks appearing overhead Iceland. And there we have a practical demonstration in 4 dimensions of the profile of the aircraft. And if I'd clicked on each one of those, it would show me the exact position as well. But maybe I'll use an example close to home to give you a real understanding of how accurate this data is. So the example I'm about to show you is from an aircraft making a final approach to Dublin. And I'll just open it up in Google Earth. And here we can see an aircraft coming off the point merge approach. He's at flight level 80, and as he starts to make the approach, he descends down to below 100 feet. We are seeing this from space to locate an aircraft below 100 feet, less than the height of this building, on any position on the Earth within the globe. It is fairly impressive. If I then drop in, to give you an example of how accurate this is, you can see the coverage stopped when the aircraft turned off the runway at Dublin. You're talking about a position report to within meters, okay, which is going to be unique service and will certainly aid the recovery of both the aircraft and potentially save lives from the rescue organisations. So that concludes my demonstration in relation to the capabilities. Would now like to move on to the questions and answer. I'd like to thank everyone for having listened to our remarks, and I would now like to take the focus back to any questions that the audience may have. As a reminder for those viewing our press conference online, if you have a question that you would like us to answer, please include your name, email address, and your publication or organisation in the comments section. If you can't access that, please feel free to email the questions to info@aireon.com. If we don't get to your question, we will send the responses after the press conference is concluded. So I'm now happy to take any questions that you may have.
Eoghan Corry from Travel Extra here in Ireland. Don, I have a question for you. You name-checked MH370 in your presentation. How are we entering an era where it is highly unlikely that we will ever see an aircraft disappear totally from our systems as a result of what you're launching today? And a supplementary, slightly related question is, can you talk us through the role Aireon has had in analysing aircraft behaviour? I know you were cited by authorities as an important source in the analysis of the Ethiopian crash in Addis Ababa.
Sure, I'd be happy to. The major impact Aireon will have is the fact that it will see all the world's aircraft. And this has really been generated by the fact that the world's aircraft fleet is being upgraded with the latest GPS-based technology for sending out its location information. So this is a major change from 1940s based radar technology, where you're pinging signals off of aircraft to get location information, to something more akin to the 21st century, where the device knows its exact location and sends that information out to the right organizations, right systems that need to know that. So that's what happens with Aireon. We're using the fact that the aircraft fleet's been upgraded. We've created an infrastructure that receives that information. So the impact that'll have on incidents like MH370, Air France 447, is the fact that we will see all the aircraft that have these new devices on board, which is the entire fleet of major commercial aircraft, and be able to provide that information in real time. So there's still issues that have to be resolved, whether or not people, either maliciously or unintentionally, due to an aircraft failure, can turn off those devices, but that's a safety issue relative to the safety of the pilot and the crew on board. But what this does ensures that you change from a several 100,000 square kilometer search area for an aircraft down to a couple square kilometer search area. That's the difference between using an Aireon-based system versus the way things currently operate. Second question, I forgot. Can you respond? The value of your information in analyzing yes. Thank you. Short-term memory is always the first thing to go. So that also really highlighted the power of a global system for collecting this information and the richness of this new technology in the air traffic control system. So we, as I mentioned, have started collecting information on all aircraft movements around the world, from takeoff to landing. And the power of that really became known when the Ethiopia 203 incident occurred. We happened to be attending the Global Air Traffic Control Summit at that point in Madrid, where all the world's air traffic control organizations, industry come together. We were at some meetings when that event occurred. We just had our engineers pull the data on both that aircraft as well as the Lion Air Indonesian aircraft that had a similar issue. It became very apparent that there were similarities. We're not aircraft accident investigators. We have no real basis to make any assessment, but organizations like the Irish Aviation Authority, like EASA, like Transport Canada, like the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board requested the information. We provided that to them within literally hours of, and some subsequent data, deeper data analysis within a day. That information became very, well, essential, quite frankly, to make a quick assessment and decision to ground the Boeing 737 MAX fleet. So, to me, it was just a validation of the power of this capability, and with partners like the Irish Aviation Authority, like the FAA, that can use that data to make much better decisions in a much more timely manner.
Thank you. Question over here on our left.
Good morning, Billy Hahn from the IAA. First of all, thank you, Sean, Peter and Don, for a very, very informative presentation. However, I have two questions. The first question is, can the business aviation community use this service? And the second question is, why have Aireon and the IAA decided to provide this service for free?
So I'll take the first question in relation to the business aviation community. The business aviation community are more than welcome to operate this service. It is catered towards the commercial end of the market. So what we don't want is the smaller aircraft, the GAA type of aircraft, to utilise the service simply because we don't have the capability of answering all the queries that we would get there. But if there is an issue with a light civil aircraft, the GAA type aircraft, that can be escalated through the normal circles, and we will get a call from either the Rescue Coordination Centre or the Search and Rescue organisations, or indeed an ANSP, and we will conduct a search in exactly the same way we would for a normal commercial aircraft. Okay. In relation to free of charge, I think, John, do you want to take that one?
Sure, be happy to. So, Aireon was developed, created, funded by our partners to provide a capability to support air traffic control. So the business that we're in at Aireon is to provide the surveillance data to an air traffic control authority like the Irish Aviation Authority, NAV Canada, UK NATS, the FAA, etc., to assist their air traffic controllers in safely and efficiently managing air traffic in their area. That's the business, and that's why the investments were made. It's how we're generating revenue for the service. So it's an efficiency approver, a safety approver on a daily, second-by-second operational basis. When a crisis occurs, when an emergency situation occurs, we will have the information that could be helpful to air traffic control. Although we'd love to have every air traffic control organization in the world be a customer of Aireon, that will take some time to make happen. We're working on it, I can assure you that, but they won't be from the start. Some may because they just don't have enough airspace. They already have radar, or so there's lots of reasons for this to occur. But as I said in my remarks, we felt it's incredibly important and the right thing for us to do to make this information available responsibly and timely to search and rescue organizations, and not to make money on that. There's not. Thank God, this industry is the safest form of transportation. These events don't occur very often, so there's no business case for doing that. But there is a moral obligation for us to make sure the right organizations get that information in a timely manner, and that's really why we set up this capability, and why the Irish Aviation Authority stepped up immediately and said, we have a facility, the people, the training, the processes that can make this information available in real time in a responsible manner. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, one of the reasons why we were very keen to be involved in this is that the reason that aviation is so safe is this really core philosophy of consistent evolution of safety throughout the industry. And for us, this was just a very natural thing to do. We see it as part of our contribution to global aviation safety, and we're delighted that it's here in Baillygirreen.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Peter.
Just a quick one. Councillor Jerry Flynn, I'm Cathaoirleach of the Shannon Municipal District, and we're dead proud of the Irish Aviation Authority. And
Sorry, can I ask you to repeat that?
I'm Jerry Flynn, Cathaoirleach of the Shannon Municipal District. I'm honoured to be here this morning. It was a very open, frank presentation, very honest, very direct. We are proud of the Irish Aviation Authority, current workers, past workers, and if the Irish Aviation Authority want to be involved with Aireon, that's a vote of confidence for me. I would expect that in time it would be mandatory for all passenger aircraft be connected to the service you provide. I wish you the best of luck. I have to leave now because I have a meeting to chair at 11 o'clock, but the best of luck, and I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I believe we have a question coming in from online. Jessie?
We have one question, and it says, what do you consider an emergency situation for one to use this service?
Okay, so I'll take that one if you're happy, Jessie. So we do have the information available on the website and part of the frequently asked questions, but it is where an aircraft has come into what is in air traffic we call it an alerting phase. It's where concern exists in relation to the conduct of the flight. That might be as a result of the aircraft hasn't reported in at a routine stage. It may be as a result of communications have been lost or contact hasn't been received. Or it may be that the aircraft has deviated from a flight plan that a controlling team would not have expected. So that would normally be the alerting phase. There are more extreme areas in relation to declaring maydays and pans, but that's when we would expect the call to be initiated to us.